Dig, 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 boys. Make that pickaxe sing. Or in your cases, your shovels. You gotta get the septics in and running before the men finish lunch. And anything you find while digging, you keep. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're back to looking at the last of the Constructicons. So for this one we get to review 2. Well, actually we will have 3 because we have the Generation 1 version of Scavenger. We have the Generation 2 Scavenger. And of course the modern Studio 86 Scavenger. This is the last of the pieces that are needed to make Devastator. And in the month of March, we will take a look at all the Devastators. We'll build these 2 guys up. We will build him and his buddies up. And we'll have a few others to show you as well. So please get excited for March to see how we put all these Devastators together. But before we get there, we need to talk about Scavenger. So for the first part of the video, like with some of the others we've done, we'll take the modern one and put him aside so that we can look at the vintage ones side by side. G1 Scavenger came out in 1985. The G2 one came out in 1992 or 1993. Of course, there is a variation of the G2 one that is all orange instead of yellow, and that was an exclusive sold at KB Toys. I unfortunately do not have that one, and given its exclusivity, I'm rather hesitant to get one, mainly because it's going to cost a lot, and, well, you know how that is, my friends. Scavenger is the one that does a lot of the heavy digging for the Constructicons, as he functions in mining and salvage. But he's also one that is like the annoying kid that always wants everybody's approval, wants everybody to be happy. So Scavenger tends to dig up stuff during his exploits, and any sort of interesting finds that he gets, he's willing to pass off to people for their friendship. So he's really kind of pathetic. But the Constructicons keep him on the team due to the fact that the ends of his shovel have special sensors that can locate various minerals or other things of value that they may actually want for their construction projects. Granted, apparently according to the More Than Meets the Eye guidebooks, it works roughly 80% of the time. But that's the only thing that keeps him on there, because his pathetic nature really gets on many of their nerves. Alright then, let's show off some accessories here. Both of them come with the exact same pistol. Since the other one's is done in black, there's not really a reason to show it too, but as you can see, it is a basic standard laser pistol. Both of them do include a large drill head. And it is done up in chrome plastic, chrome covered plastic. The big difference is at the base of them. That's why I'm showing you both of them. The Generation 1 version has an extra tip, since it was intended in its original product as a launching weapon. The launchers were unfortunately neutered for the American releases, so it serves no real purpose. And since the launchers were totally neutered for the Generation 2, the part was modified. The same will also translate to the fists. This is the Generation 1 version. It is in a dark purple. And the Generation 2's is in a slightly lighter shade of purple. But the best way to double check is to compare it to the purple plastic on the figures, because it should be the same color purple as it is on their legs. But of course, they also have the same things with the tips of the post that we just discussed. And then lastly are their launchers. Again, their plastic color, the purple plastic, should match the hands and the robot's legs. The original one has the firing mechanism button. Since the mechanism was totally removed in the G2 one, it was taken out. And of course, it should have the hole here on the bottom. If you have it the other way, then you have bone crushers. So make sure you check that if you're buying one loose. Alright then, we'll take a look at their articulation. It is the same for both toys, so we don't really have to do a whole lot. You can rotate his arms all the way around at the shoulder. And you can move his feet, his legs like so. But as you can see, since they're linked together, you end up moving both of them at the same time. Alright, transform Scavenger. It's a pretty simple setup. We will fold his head down like so. You'll straighten his arms and slide them in. Rotate his feet so they're pointing at each other. And then fold them onto the body. And then there you have it. Scavenger is transformed into a steam shovel. And we know that's what it is, because that's what it says right here on the card instructions. But of course, some of us that are in the business of working with this kind of equipment, myself included, we tend to refer to it as a track hoe. Since of it being a digging hoe, and it's on tracks. Hence the term track hoe. And don't be joking about it. I know some of you are there giggling about it. As you can see, you got the shovel moves in two areas. So you do get that, and it does rotate. The body does rotate all the way around, so you do get some options with it. And like the other Constructicons, it has an attack mode. You can insert his laser gun on the top of the cab. And then over here on the other side, you would take the launcher. I'm sure some of you may have noticed earlier there was two holes here on the bottom. Well, they line up perfectly with the posts here on Scavenger. You just got to have the digging section has to be out of the way. And you can then attach the drill into there. And there you go. You have a track hoe with a drill missile and a laser gun. Of course, if you see one of these coming down the road, I'd say the union's on strike again. And they're going to take their grievances out on anybody. And then next up is the Generation 2 one for comparison's sake. Now, of course, moving right along, we'll take a look at how he was marketed in 1985. Here is his card backer. It's pretty well shot on this side, but that's always the potential. Right down here would have been where Scavenger was, and up here would have been all the parts. And of course it advertises to get all 6 of them to make Devastator. Devastator was a big thing back in 1985, believe me. We'll talk about that when we get to Devastator. Well, we turn it around here. Up here's the barcode and the robot points. He was worth 1 point. And then, of course, we get a big banner here to show all the Constructicons. And then it shows off Scavenger here. It gives you the parts list of everything he came with. And then we go through the motions of how to turn him into the target attack shovel, but they conveniently leave off attaching the gun for some weird reason. And then we go into the works of how to transform him into the robot, how to put the stickers on, and of course how to save your robot points and read the decoded message down here. Then right down here we have his tech spec bio. Everything's done in purple to show he's a Decepticon. It says Constructicon above him, and of course the picture here matches the one on the front of the card. It gives his name as Scavenger. His function is mining and salvage. And then there's a quote associated with him, presumably said by him from the way it is. It says, "Everything is worth something, even me." So remember that out there, folks. We're all worth something. It may be only 85 cents, but we're worth something. Be proud of it. Desperately tries to prove his worth to comrades by trying to find things of value, whether by digging up hillside or a backyard. So that means if the dog's house disappears, you know what happened to it. Only tolerated by Megatron because of his ability to use Shovel's magnetic, ionic, electrical, gas sensors to detect presence of fuels, metals, etc. As right arm module, combines with fellow Constructicons to form giant robot Devastator. And then we go over here to the tech spec grid. Normally you would need a decoder to read it, but I've gotten pretty good at finding the numbers. It lists his strength as 7, his speed is 2, no, his intelligence is 2, his speed is 3. A little hard to read the purple background with the black letters. His endurance is 6, his rank is 4, his courage is 9, his firepower is 6, and his skill is 7, so Scavenger's biggest handicaps are that he's slow in his vehicle mode, which Traco tends to be pretty slow, and he's stupid. But he is a courageous warrior, and he can do his job. So I guess that makes him fit in with Megatron's army. Alright, let's put these guys aside and take a look at the modern version. Okay, this is the modern Scavenger from 2025. And it does retain a lot of the design elements from the original toy. So he does look exactly how he should. I love the fact that they even included the bar here on his chest that is used to connect the original toy to Devastator, even though on this one it serves no purpose. But it is nice to throw it in there as a nice homage to the original. He's certainly more articulated than the original, as it should be. It definitely looks a little bit better altogether as a robot. His parts do fold up a lot better, because that's always was a gripe about the original Scavenger, was the digging arm never did really stay in a good position. You couldn't keep it folded up. When he was in robot form, you ended up having it droop down almost between his legs. The only good side to that was that at least it kept him standing up. Stupidly, but it worked. At any rate, let's take a look at his accessories. He comes with a gun. And again, like with Mixmasters, it really does not resemble the original gun. Although in this case, for Scavenger, it is even worse. Does not look like it at all. But it does have a slight improvement, because we do have something of a minor scope here on the top. And we do have a little tiny foregrip. Or maybe that's the ammunition clip. It's hard to tell, but I would probably go with the ammunition clip. It's a little too far to be a foregrip, because his arms won't bend that far to grab it, so. And then he has one other accessory, and that is this part of the shovel unit. This part is removed on the toy when it is brand new, so if you buy one loose on the secondary market, do make sure you check for that. And as you can see, they designed it so it folds away snugly, and you don't have this green thing hanging out his backside. At any rate, let's take a look at his articulation. It's pretty standard for a toy of his size. You can turn his head from left to right, and it does rock up and down a bit. It's on a small ball joint. You can raise his arms out to the side about so far, and the arms do rotate all the way around. His left one does sometimes have a little bit of difficulty due to the vehicle kibble on the back. You can bend his arms at the elbow 90 degrees, and he does have a swivel at the bicep. So he has G.I. Joe grip. Unfortunately, due to the way he is designed, he cannot be twisted at his hips. Or at least done up like this, he cannot twist, so we're not going to fight with it. We don't want to break him. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. He does have a good thigh cut. You can raise his leg at the hip a little greater than 90 degrees, and you can bend his legs at the knee 90 degrees. So all in all, he does have good articulation for a toy of his size. And some good snug kneecaps there too. Okay, let's transform Scavenger. Again, it's a relatively simple process. We start by opening up his chest panel. We'll fold his head into it and then close it back up. We straighten out his arms and we're going to fold the hands inside. Just exactly like that. He decided to fall down, but we'll flip him over because we got to start folding out the shovel. Once it's out of the way, we come here to his left shoulder, and we're going to fold the cab over like that. And then you fold the arms at the shoulder back. As you can see, there's a little hole right here at my thumbnail, and it will line up with this post also at my thumbnail. They don't snap or anything, so don't be wasting time listening for it. Then once you've done that, you'll fold the arms up like so, and then we fold them back. They should fold back. There it goes. Just a bit on the snug side. Once you fold them back, there's a post right here next to the hand, and it should line up with a little slot right here at the back of this green area. Let's get this other arm. There we go. It's a bit stiff, so I should tell you it's a nice, relatively new toy. It's only been handled a couple of times at most. But at any rate, once we got him all snugged in, we come over here to the cab and fold it over onto the shoulder like so. And now we're going to come around down here to his legs. Spread the legs out and rotate them outwards to keep them out a bit like so. And then you will fold his feet together. And then you bring them in. This post right here on the body will fit in this gap here. Plus, there is a couple of more. There's another hole right here on the track, and it will fit into this post on the body. There will be a minor snap when it connects, but it should fit all nice and snug. Then you can set him back out and adjust the shovel. And of course, for an attack mode, you can plug the gun in over here on this side, sort of an homage to the missile launcher on the original. Now, of course, he unfortunately cannot rotate in this mode like the original could, but you do have more articulation for his shovel, since it has the same two joints as the original, but now you can control the bucket. So that's definitely a nice improvement. And we'll bring in the original and the G2 version for comparisons. That way you can see how they all look compared to each other. But now we get down to my thoughts. The original Scavenger, it sufficed. It didn't look the best in robot mode, I will give it that. Vehicle mode, it was kind of fun to have. I mean, you had the rotating platform and that digging shovel. I mean, granted, you couldn't adjust the bucket, but that's fine. It made do. It was serviceable. So it kind of worked in its own way. The modern one, it's kind of flip-flopped. The robot looks pretty good as it stands there and looks kind of imposing. The vehicle mode, since it doesn't rotate on there, it seems kind of silly. Plus, but as a bonus, you do get the moving bucket. So it's kind of a trade-off. But we also have to remember the G1 and G2 versions were designed for children to play with. The studio versions are more meant for adults. So the play feature, being able to turn him and dig in the sand or the dirt, isn't going to be as appealing. Now, I know I'm not speaking for every adult collector, and far be it from me to try to even judge other adult collectors on how and what they do with their toys. It's in your house, you do with it as you please. But I'm just giving an honest opinion that has some factual basis. But I'm not a know-it-all. Never tried to claim to be. Who wants to be? But in this case, I personally just think it's a downgrade that we don't get that, because maybe you'd want to display him in a partial turn. But that's just me, folks. At any rate, that's our look at the Constructicon Scavenger, both the original and the modern. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that we would love to get some likes, comments, and all that jazz. Because remember, YouTube's algorithm has changed, so we do want the feedback. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.